Hello, Mrs. Hennessy. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Good. First off, my name is David Broush. I am an intervention specialist here at Amelia High School. In particular, I work with your son, Daniel. The reason we are here today is to discuss the recent Brigance assessment that we did with Daniel. A little background as to what the Brigance is. I do have some materials here for you to look over if you would like. You don't have to. So a little overview as to what it is. It covers hundreds of different assessments that include transition, covers career awareness, math, post-secondary options, speaking and listening, all of which is scored on a 100-point scale and then measured against the national scale to decide where your son is at or where the student is at within the range.
Okay.
Particularly, we worked on math.
Okay.
Do you have any questions as to what the Brigance covers or the way in which they was scored or anything like that before we get started into Daniel's actual scores and results?
Go through that. Okay.
So first off, being that it is the summer, our school is being renovated. Therefore, our access to many classrooms and whatnot have been very, very limited. So Daniel is a football player. We decided to do it in the coach's office, which unfortunately is outside the weight room. We did it after football practice, so a little bit of difficulty, distractions there. Volleyball happened to be in the weight room when we did it, but it remained fairly quiet as we closed the doors and kind of separated ourselves from it. So first off, we administered two tests. The first test was on number facts, which were addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, basically knowing the number facts. I have his actual test, which was in here, but I made copies of it. That way it's easier to navigate.
Sure.
This is the test that Daniel was given for the first time.
Okay.
That was on a 3-minute timing scale.
Okay.
Daniel only took 2 minutes to finish that. It seemed
he
remained very calm, collected, even with the music from the volleyball team in the weight room, things of that nature. You can see there, those are the results of what he got right and wrong. You're looking at addition, 15 out of 16 were correct, 16 out of 16 on subtraction, 16 out of 16 on multiplication, and then 15 out of 16 on division. So overall, he only missed 2 questions. Now, if we go back here and take a look at some of the notes that they provided to us in administering this. So essentially what happens is the skill is to know number facts. The assessment method is an individual or group written response. Obviously, this is an individual assessment method. He's given a copy of this worksheet, as you saw there just a second ago, a pencil, and then a timepiece, which in the case we used the cell phone. We used the timer set it at 3 minutes. That way he had visual representation of the time.
So he was always able to see how much time he had.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then the scoring there, you see it was each one was out of 16. We added that up to the 100, changed that over to a ratio of out of 100, and developed the scoring off that. As you can see, though, he only missed 1 and 2 of the 4 subject areas there. So then as we go into it, it gives us a little idea of, it says time for 3 minutes, so that's where you see where we get our timing from. If I flip back here to my results, he had 8 out of 8 on addition with sums of 12, 100%, great job. Addition with sums of 18, he did have a 7 out of 8, which is roughly 87.5%, still great. 8 out of 8 on the subtraction with 12, 8 out of 8 with the subtraction of 18. And then we move over to multiplication. They broke it down into four groups, 6, 7, and 8. Multiplication, 100 on all of them. Again, division with divisors of 6, 7, and 8. Did great on 6, 7, 8. Missed 1 on number 9, which is a 3 out of 4. We've always been striving for 80% with Daniel, so that one would be one that we would take a look at, but nothing of major concern because it is only out of 4 trials. So a little notes here that I had was the student was able to complete all problems in 2 out of the 3 minutes. Student was calm and collected, no frustration whatsoever, did not change any answers, so didn't go back and erase anything, and overall there were no issues that I noticed with this section.
Right.
As you can see, this is my little notes section that I had while he was testing.
Oh,
Nothing too extreme.
right.
So I'll give you a second to look over that, and then we'll dive into the second portion of this testing, which was a little bit more of a concern than we had hoped for, but that's why we're doing this.
Right.
So number 2, if we look at it here, again, this one was timed with a 20-minute time scale. Again, same idea with the phone, giving him the timing, letting him go through it with that timepiece there in front of him so he can gauge his time left and whatnot. So as we go through this one, this is the worksheet here. It is comprised of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Again, it is over, as you look here on the second part, of whole numbers, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, computation.
Started out strong and then the end.
Yeah, started out real strong with the addition and subtraction. Towards the end of subtraction, we kind of hit a bump in the road. And multiplication, division, were a little bit of a struggle. He still worked fairly quick, as if it really clicked that he knew what it was. But I think we missed carrying some numbers and placement of our zeros in those division and multiplication problems. So as you look here, the way this one was assessed, again, individual, a copy of our page that we just saw, pencil, scratch paper he did receive this time. With that being said, this is the amount of scratch paper that he did use.
He didn't use it.
Not much. This is what I know, these problems here is when he got into the multiplication and the division. Is when he really started taking advantage of that.
Was he running out of time by the time he got to that
No,
point that you
actually, if I look here at my notes, I don't know the exact time frame. So he finished this with 9 minutes and 20 seconds left. So he only used 11 minutes and 40 seconds of his entire time.
So he wasn't-
You know, but he knew going into it. I didn't ask him to use all 20 minutes. I said just complete it at your pace. Whatever you get finished is great. Whatever you don't, so be
he
it.
wasn't hurrying to finish it.
Correct. No. There was no rush to any of it. So if you go here, the scratch paper I noted, he didn't really start to use the scratch paper until multiplication from point C on. So C, D, E, F, and then all of his division.
Were the other first 3 numbers easier?
Yeah, they were a little lower as we go back and look here. You look at A, 32 times 3, very simple, just adding 1 0. It's when we got into the 537 times 34.
Multiplying by a double digit.
Right.
Okay.
That's where it started to hit a bump in the road. And you know, I let him work at his own pace. Again, he was very calm and collected through this one as well. But I did note, as you look here, towards the end of division, that's when I really started thinking this isn't the greatest setting, with music in the background. You know, he could get distracted, which is understandable as a high school student.
Right. But does he need to learn to focus more?
Yes and no.
Drown out the distraction.
When you think about testing purposes, most tests that you're given or assessments, you take them in a quiet place.
Right.
You don't take them in an
Right.
office next to a weight room.
Right.
But given the availability of space that we had, that's what we had to do just for the time being. But I did notice he was upright. He wasn't slouched. He wasn't, disappointed in what was going on. But I did notice him make a comment that he was drawing a blank. He also asked me if decimals were used, and then he did say, "I forget long division." Fairly obvious there, which it's fine. It's all stuff that if we catch it at a certain point, we put the necessary interventions in place, and we take care of it. So I will go back here to the front. You see in the addition, 100%. Subtraction, it was a 66. That's a little concern there. And then the multiplication and division both were 17. So I've noted students seemed to work fine until section 3 and 4. They began using the scratch paper and his pace slowed. He, quote, drew a blank, began asking questions, and again, quote, said, "I forget long division."
Kind of hit a wall.
Right. So as you can see there, those are his results. I will make a copy of this and give that to you.
Right.
Do you have any questions in reference to that or anything of that nature?
I don't think so. I mean,
Okay.
I think that's pretty typical of what I would expect of him.
All self-explanatory.
So,
No.
yeah.
Again, I'm going to pull up here some potential goals
Okay.
that I developed off of what we saw here.
Okay.
First off, we're going to go with the student will. One second here. The student will be able to complete in-class activities that involve computation of whole numbers, in parentheses here, multiplication, at an 80% accuracy rate by the end of this current IEP.
Okay.
The two objectives that we have that would tie into that would be, given an in-class activity or assessment, student will be able to complete computation of whole numbers, multiplication, with an 80% accuracy rate in 4 of 5 trials by the end of the second quarter.
Okay.
And B would be, given an in-class activity or assessment, the student will be able to complete computation of whole numbers, multiplication again, with an 80% accuracy rate in 4 or 5 trials by the end of the fourth quarter.
Okay. There's a little
Again,
time
just
to
right. That,
work
by the end of this current IEP, we'll put those objectives in to kind
Okay.
of pace us that way.
Okay.
And then number 2 was our division issues.
Yeah.
Student will be able to complete in-class activities that involve computation of whole numbers, division at an 80% accuracy rate by the end of this current IEP. And then again, very similar objectives to part 1 of this. Given an in-class activity or assessment, student will be able to complete computation of whole numbers, division, with an 80% accuracy rate in 4 of 5 trials by the end of the second quarter. And then again, same thing by the end of the fourth quarter. Are there any concerns with what we developed there, or any things you would like to see, maybe test them a little bit more?
Do you think it'd be a good idea to use like the old-fashioned flashcards, you know, the multiplication?
Absolutely. I think
division,
at
just
home,
try and refresh
at
kind of what you
home,
learned
absolutely.
basics. Okay.
Just to get an idea, just to get repetition and practice.
Right.
Any kind of practice will help.
Okay.
The more you do at home, obviously, will be reinforced of what we're doing at school,
Okay.
and that's always what we look to do, is keep that link. That way, there's no separation.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll do that. Yep. We'll do that.
Well, I will, like I said, I'll make copies of all this. Obviously, we'll be in touch. Do you have any other questions regarding
I think
anything?
so. I think everything's going all right.
Well, I appreciate you coming in again. Daniel, it's a pleasure to have in class. Really works hard, great kid, great attitude towards everything. So we have high hopes.
Good to hear that.
Definitely on the right track. Just gotta
Great.
keep him going.
All right.
All right.
Work together.
You have a
Thank
good
you.
day, man.
Good to meet you.